So what are we doing today?
Today is potato harvest day. I was going to try to wait a little bit longer on these, but some of the plants are looking a little sickly and falling over, and we've tried I think 3 times now re-hilling the potatoes. So yeah, I think it's time all of these come out of the ground, and then we're going to cure them, and in a couple weeks we'll be eating them.
Like we already have been.
Yes, the first harvest has already started to be eaten, and they're delicious. So we're gonna keep eating them for sure. But pretty much the idea right now is pull the plant out of the ground, shake most of the dirt off, pick through the dirt, find all the potatoes, and into the bucket they go.
Perfect.
Nothing too crazy here.
And then this section here is what we did prior.
What we already harvested and we've already replanted. We've got turnip, beet, and spinach. We really like the turnip with the potatoes for mashed potatoes and turnip mash. Yeah, mashed potato and turnip. Made really probably about the most delicious mashed potatoes we've ever had. Somehow the turnip just makes the potatoes taste more potato-y.
100%.
So we decided we're gonna grow more turnip because it makes really nice dinner. So that's also why I planted them directly beside the potato. I thought that was somehow poetic.
And we planted them 2 other places.
Yeah, and we kind of sprinkled them all throughout the garden at this point. But yeah, there's no pretty way about pulling up potatoes. Kind of just each of these clumps was 1 seed potato, and they really blew up. So you kind of just try to grab 1 clump and give it a shake, get most of the dirt out. A lot of the potatoes fall free. Except
for there is one.
So there's the seed potato. And you can tell he's a different color. Some of them rotted away completely. This guy's definitely softer. Yeah, so you get those guys, then you get these little wee ones still stuck to the runners. Some really tiny ones. These were supposed to be like 100-day potatoes, and I think we're on day like 80. But like you can see, like these plants have fallen over. A lot of the leaves are getting really yellow. All the flowers have fallen off. So yeah.
We're impatient, so we're doing it.
We're also impatient. But plant comes out, get all the potatoes off, and this just goes into the compost. Little fork will help with. Find them pretty well. And it's a little bit of a rainy day too, so it's kind of mucky to be digging in here for potatoes, but just take that. Oh, yeah, there's another one. Oh, okay. Do my best not to disturb what we just planted. Nice thing too is this really like loosened up all of this soil, and we'll be able to.
And see all the roots.
So that should lead to, yeah, see if you follow one of these, that'll lead to potato. But yeah, so that's one. Keep digging around a little bit, make sure we're not missing anything. Yeah, so that's one. So there's a nice sized one.
Definitely.
And these are the, oh, there we go. So that's the remnants of a seed potato right there. And see how
kind of yucky.
Honestly, don't even really want to grab that because it's pretty gross. And
good compost food.
It actually doesn't smell as bad. If you've ever smelled rotten potato before, it's pretty rough, but that's actually not too bad. So
you were saying the variety.
Yeah, so these are red Pontiacs. And the other cool thing too is seed potato is simply a potato. So if we want to, for next year's planting, we can take this guy and we set him out in the sun for a week or so, and it'll chit, which means the eyes will start to grow a new potato plant, and then you bury that in the ground, and months later you end up with more potatoes. So yeah, we're gonna save at least, I don't know, a bunch of these, and we'll use them as seed potatoes next year, because we've really, I mean, you've enjoyed this variety too, so
Definitely.
they're pretty tasty.
They're a little bit sweet, but you still have a bit of that kind of potato texture.
Yeah.
Mind you, these are our first homegrown, so I'm not sure how they compare really to other homegrown varieties. But I really like, yeah, the texture and the real earthiness flavor of it.
There you go. There. So that was another seed potato right there. That might have been one of the remnants from the first plants we pulled up.
It looks like it.
Pretty, oh, but there we go. There we go. Some of these guys.
It's nice having our compost so close.
Very convenient in this situation.
Did you come to help?
Oh, here's one. Well, that was disappointing. I might have to come around to that other side to be able to reach, but
that's okay. I'll probably...
There's a good sized one.
We got a couple good ones.
Yes.
I'll probably stop this recording because we're going to try our first stitch together video, because we do like to actually be present when we are in the garden. So we don't really do a lot of these processes videos, but we definitely want to get hubby on the camera a little bit more. And I don't like to explain things, and he does. So I just like to bring you guys on and show things off.
Some practice from teaching a couple times before.
Exactly. But this is his area. So we're going to clip off, and then hopefully the next time you see us, we will be processing.
Almost forgot, we have our 2 bucket potato experiments. These are 2 5-gallon hardware store buckets. That has 1 seed potato in it. The other one never really took, never formed any plant after a couple of weeks. This one has 2 white potatoes, red Pontiacs. Not entirely sure on the white variety, because they were just a grocery store brand that had chitted. So
what about that one in the center? What variety is that one?
That's a dud spud.
A dud spud.
Yeah. Really cute, not tasty.
Not tasty.
So we're just gonna take this guy, and we'll probably just, probably not pour it out, because the bottom of these buckets, you can see there's drainage holes, they're full of gravel. So I'm just gonna try to pull the plant up, and then whatever. Well, I think actually, well, what'd you know? So there's the plants. Gravel all stayed in the bucket. It'll be interesting to see. Well, there's a couple, not a ton. Really kind of compacted. A lot of root. But 1, 2. Seed.
It's interesting to see. It may not reflect.
It's a lot of root.
But you see the color difference?
Mm-hmm.
They're very pale.
Yeah.
They're closer to the seed potato than they are to the...
Cool to see that earthworms got into those buckets though, as well, because we didn't
add anything.
Yeah. So that gravel will just get mixed into the bed.
Definitely see the difference in the potatoes. We found one white one left over as well.
Way wetter soil as well. That's really wet. Still a few potatoes for sure. The seeds are still, those are the seeds right there. Let's take those guys and compost them. And then, see what happens with this guy. Let's see if he does the same thing. And this is the white. More or less the same thing. Pulled straight out, and there we go.
Yay!
So
more white ones.
Yeah, I think in total we only did, I know 2 of the white potato seeds didn't do anything, and I think I only planted 4, so we had two white seed potatoes in total. so not as prolific as the red Pontiacs were.
And what do you prefer, buckets or garden beds?
Based off of this experiment alone, just the garden bed, but I think next year I really want to kind of play around with some of the science of this and see what really works really well.
Might not need soil or the gravel.
Yeah. And there's the white seed right there.
Cool. Well, we did get a couple, so it certainly was not in vain.
Yeah.
And
Compost him right away. As you can see, the compost is currently a little overgrown.
'Tis the season.
So, project for another day.
Speaking of projects, we'll meet you back in the homestead.
All right, so really simple. This is the first drying rack we made when we did the first round of potato harvest. Worked. Call that version 1.0. Could use a few improvements. Pretty much what it is, I've got tons of scrap wood everywhere and a lot of leftover building materials pretty much also everywhere. So that is just a window and door screen repair kit stapled to, in that case, a whole bunch of Douglas fir strips I had left over from work. This is a pallet with same thing, just stapled on, a couple kind of piecemeal pieces to cover the whole thing. And the whole idea is pretty much you put your potatoes on something that allows for a bunch of airflow, and the idea is you're trying to let the bulk water evaporate out of the potato in a ideally very dark, very dry, very cool environment. Our basement's probably the best option for this. When the lights are off, very little sunlight gets in here, so we don't have to worry about pre-chitting our potatoes. It's fairly temperature stable down here, even when it's really hot outside. The only real issue is humidity, but we do have a little portable dehumidifier, which I think I'll probably run just to keep the humidity down around like 45–50% down here. I think that'll probably really help, and then we don't have to worry about potatoes rotting. Like I said earlier, one of the nice things with rotting potatoes is you smell them pretty quickly, so if one does rot, hopefully we'll smell it, we'll get it, and we'll take it out of here. But for now, I think what we're going to do is, here's our bucket of potatoes. Really happy with how many potatoes we did get. I think in total, I can't remember exactly. I'm pretty sure it was 26 seed potatoes in total were planted. I wish I had weighed them so I could have done the conversion on weight to weight, but this is definitely more than 26 potatoes. So just from a volume point of view, totally worth it, because I think the seed potato bag too was only like $10, so we've definitely made our money back on potatoes. We did very little work with them over the season, aside from a little bit of hilling to cover up some premature potatoes. Really no work. They didn't need any pruning, no fertilizer, nothing. So economically, this is definitely an awesome solution. Not enough potatoes for a whole year, but it's a good start on at least one of our staple foods. Growing it ourselves, so we don't have to worry about grocery stores and all that kind of stuff. So just going to spread these guys out. One of the things I might do, like I said, these are the first round of potatoes. They're not entirely ready yet. They've only been drying for about a week. They're probably still a little wet considering how they were when I cut them up the other night for dinner. I'm going to take the big guys off of these racks because they sag too much. All the big potatoes will go down on the pallet and put all the small guys up on these racks. I think that'll really help out. And the only real trick I'm going to worry about is making sure no two potatoes are touching each other. That's really all it's going to be.
One thing too, I just wanted to add, you'll probably notice there's still dirt on the potatoes. So
yeah.
We did pull off all of the little like vine bits, but we left the dirt. And remind me again, we keep the dirt because
it's not so much the dirt you're trying to keep. With a lot of vegetables, especially the root crops, my understanding is all vegetables, but again, especially root crops, have an enzyme on their outside, and that enzyme is actually what keeps them fresh and healthy and from rotting. So if you go and run this under the tap and wash all the dirt off, you're also washing that layer of enzyme, and I'm assuming also like natural bacterias and healthy microbes off the surface, which will increase the potential for these spoiling faster. So it's not the dirt you're trying to keep, it's the microbes and everything below the dirt you're trying to keep. So don't wash the potatoes. You might just rub, if something like this one, yeah, this one's super dirty. So what I'll probably do is just use my hands and just rub some of the extra dirt off. And then also as this dirt dries, it'll just kind of flake off over time too as they're sitting here drying. I can already tell that I like this method over the small screens because it's nice to be able to stand on the pallet.
Definitely.
And the screen is sagging a lot less in this case too. But if we were to take one of these bigger guys, actually one of the things too to compare is these are from our first harvest, and it was really dry when we harvested these guys. It hadn't rained for a couple of days. It's been raining this morning, so you can just also see how wet your soil is at the time of harvest. Kind of tells you how much dirt you're going to have on them. But again, not worried about the dirt. Obviously the dirt gets washed off right before dinner, so we're just going to leave it.
No dirt pies here, folks. Probably still eat it though, because we have pretty good dirt.
Yeah, all natural.
All natural.
It's dirt. It, like I said, no fertilizers, no petrochemical additives. It's from a fairly reputable local company, so we're not too worried about what's in it. But the goal is for next year, less soil inputs, more of our own homegrown compost inputs. So not mostly, big part of that is for cost savings, because soil made on the homestead is a lot less expensive. And also we know exactly what's in it then. All of our compost this year is pretty much a mixture of whatever carbon elements we have on hand, a lot of wood shavings from work, from the shop, and leaf, bark, twigs, branches, that kind of stuff. And then a lot of our greens are our kitchen scraps, prunings off of our plants, and our lawn clippings. And we don't fertilize, no weed killer, no Roundup, anything like that on the lawn. So all that green, and it's a really mixed lawn too. It's a lot of grass, it's a lot of clover, so you're getting a lot of different green nitrogen sources going into the compost too.
Which is what you like. You like the science behind everything. I just like the food.
The food's good
Let's
too.
get real. I just like the food.
I like the understanding of how that kind of stuff works, and it's cool when you get I've tried the compost for so many years and it never really worked, and this year with the new compost setup, keeping everything tighter in bins, and each of those bins is 1 cubic yard, and just being able to actually, cool thing is we've actually hit the hot compost mark this year. Like there's been a couple times if you stick your hand in that compost you will get burned. It's like up in that 165, 170 degree range, which might even be a little too hot. But compared to years past where I just had heaps of lawn clippings and dirt and dinner scraps kind of all just kind of thrown around the yard, it never really got hot, never really broke down. So it's cool to see how the tweaking of certain little details can really impact what you're actually growing and how it's being produced. So
Oh, definitely. And processes like this, making sure you do cure things that you're long storing.
yeah, so like this is going to be a very similar process to our onions when we harvest them,
And garlic once
and garlic for next year.
we get there. Well, guys, I hope you kind of enjoyed this video. Hopefully the transitions between slides wasn't too all over the place. I'm usually just used to the garden tours where we just do one single shot. And this time we decided to try and break it up, just so it was a little less in between for you guys. So thank you for watching, and enjoy your day.